Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, throughout space and time, in the three worlds and 10 directions. It is 5 a.m. The Buddha even now sits with us. We sit with the Buddha on this planet, on other worlds, all the worlds in our mind arising in this eternal now. There's a simple instruction that they have taught us, that when we realize the cessation of thought, the thought eternally arising from craving the next thought to complete the next thought and the next thought, when that ceases, then wisdom arises, the wisdom of Prajnaparamita. But it cannot be intended or attained through striving, even though meditation is quite a striving. For anyone who has done a month-long meditation retreat, or a 3-year, 3-month, 3-week, 3-day, 3-hour, 3-minute, 3-second, 3 femtosecond meditation retreat, such as many lamas of the past, it can be quite a striving. Yet how to attain the natural state of relaxation, natural mind, natural great peace. How to rest in natural great peace, this exhausted mind, beaten helplessly by karma and neurotic thought, like the relentless fury of the pounding waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. We need to exhaust thoughts and the technique that seemed to be what the Zen teachers were teaching is, again, the attention to breath, or coming back to the breath. And as thought carries you away, you notice it, come back to the breath, follow the breath, notice again you're carried away, come back to the breath, follow the breath, with your attention in your hara, your below your belly button, where your mudra, the left on the right, and the thumbs just touching. This is holding your energy of your mudra, where your energy center is. So even though this coming back is a striving, it exhausts the energy of thought, the chaos of the mind. And it occurred to me that this is what Manjushri is doing. I saw this statue at I think it was 1990 or 89 at San Francisco Art Museum in Golden Gate Park at the Wisdom and Compassion show exhibit. And I sat for maybe 4 hours in front of this. And it has always been an inspiration and a puzzle. The smile and the sword. What is this sword cutting? Is he smiling as he cuts your head off? Or could just be the cutting off of thought, the determination to cut off each thought as it arises by coming back to the breath. This is what exhausts the mind, or the ego. The ego always wants to offer up again and again this pleasure of thought, and that's the chaotic circle of the mind. The ego is a strange attractor, and the chaotic loop orbits the strange attractor, but it can do a phase shift to another orbit suddenly, perhaps randomly. There's another strange attractor which it could orbit with just a jump. This is called jump resonance. But cutting off the normal thought that we are taught and use to survive, which has benefit, cutting it off again and again. The ego goes through various phases of sorrow, anger, lust, all these fantasies, desperately trying to get us to come back into the same loop of paying attention to it. Eventually it's exhausted, maybe after a week or a month of in a meditation retreat. And the chaotic loop can jump to another orbit. And the ego becomes the background instead of the foreground. So this is what it seemed to me was going on in meditation retreats. Coming back again and again to the breath, which is exhausting the energy of the ego that makes us attend to it. And we see the ego as background instead of foreground after some period of angst where the ego has to give up its dominance, not without some trial and tribulation, although that may depend on the person. Some may be less tribulation than others, some perhaps with none. Nevertheless, coming back to the breath and then exhausting the energy of the ego, seeing it as the background, seeing the foreground as the Buddha mind, this natural great peace, having exhausted the mind. seeing the ocean of samsara from the natural great peace of nirvana.